I'd like to go live now and early. What's up, everybody? This is an after party edition. We haven't had one of these in a minute. Try to get some recaps for you when it's live after the show. It's after party edition. However the condition that you happen to be in or we happen to be in, it's all good. Don't ask, don't tell. As long as we're having a good time, right? But seriously here, we're going to be recapping results for UFC 279. That was Diaz-Ferguson impromptu, newly minted main top 3 fights. If you haven't been paying attention, why are you watching a results show if you didn't even realize that the weigh-in drama? I know it all happens fast, but come on, so this is your warning in case you're watching this in the future, and you don't want to be spoiled of any of the results. Joining me, as I tease, especially if I love a podcast, I want to try to make my way around. I can't give all the love to my guy, Tyler, TB Scouting. We got to have Guru Scouting at Guru Scouting MMA. What's up? What's up, Greg? How's it going, buddy?
What's going on, Dan? Thanks so much for having me on, buddy. Truly an honor and a pleasure to be on. Longtime fan, longtime reader. Truly an honor to just get to chat with you, buddy.
That means a lot, man. You guys are definitely, like I say, some of my favorite dessert podcasts. After my work's done, I like to listen to you guys. I always get like legit laugh out loud moments, which is great.
We try to really have a good, entertaining time. We try to have a fun time. We try not to take ourselves too seriously. And, with a lot of shows, you can go out there and you can just present your information and that's that. But, Chronic Combat Conversations, we want to open up the dialogue and have a good time, let our personalities shine, and hopefully cash a few tickets as well.
Absolutely, man. The laughter is going to say, especially on nights like these when it's just like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. It's like whether you win or lose, I feel like it's like that I need a cigarette feeling, right? Whether you smoke 100%. Or not, right?
Absolutely. Listen, if you're not laughing, you're crying. So we choose laughing, and we certainly choose smoking. So.
Yep. Oh, wow. We're already getting some people in the chat, which is awesome. We got Mark Fellows in there. Be sure everybody like and subscribe if you're not already. Of course, if you're commenting, it means you've subscribed. Turn that on. We got, Chronic Combat Conversations. I've heard of those guys. As you guys are piling on here, I'm just going to kind of, share, and then we'll get on with the results. We'll go from top to bottom as we usually do on the show, and I think that kind of is more appropriate, I think, Guru, for like these kind of shows, because we want to just get to the meat of it. We want to get to the fights at the top, right?
I'm sorry, what? I missed that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I said we're gonna go from top to bottom, and I think that's actually good for these kind of shows.
Oh my God, no, because it's more fresh in my mind, top to bottom. Main event, fucking incredible, no?
It is. UFC 279, of course. The main event was Diaz versus Ferguson. Real quick, just off the top, I'm going to give this up. You don't have to, feel free to talk about or chime in, but I have to come clean with my audience. We went 7-6 overall in picks. The round robin was a big whiff. We'll get into that. I think we only hit one of four. Close but no cigar on some. But yeah, only 1 of 4, so we didn't get anything on that, unless you took my advice and switched out for the Aldana KO. Then you at least got some. Probably just came up just short to cover the amount that it would have cost if you played it the way I did. But it's still nice to at least hit something, even if it's just the 2 out of the 4, which was me last week as far as the round robin goes. My plays were awful. My one parlay was a miss. We'll get to that. One of the legs missed, and it wasn't the third leg. That thing was sturdy. We'll talk about that.
That thing's always standing. Come on, guy.
Yeah, you know what's up, Guru.
Specifically, the third leg is what's up.
That's right, baby. Shout out to my man Aaron Bronstetter, by the way. I think he sneakily snuck in some Jailman reference when doing the backstage interview with Fabio as the translator and Jailman.
I love Aaron. I'm such a big fan of Aaron. Would love to get him on the show at some point.
He's the man. I'll put in a word.
That would be amazing.
Straight plays. Ended up taking. It was like it was the heat of the moment. I took a Holland shot.
Yeah, a Holland shot. Yeah.
which we'll talk about. I'll talk about here in a second. I don't want to jump around too much. We're going to go from top to bottom. I just want to recap my do a quick snapshot recap here. Ann Helliger, it was a last minute ad. I actually went and watched tape on it. Not to blind follow. And I just that one came up short. We'll talk about that.
Sure.
Missed on that one. Dewadu Arosa, I felt good about, man. We'll talk about that. And, I shouldn't be too ashamed of that one, but a miss is a miss. We'll talk about that. So what is that? Ofer? Yeah, the ads were really good, though. The ads were, and that's kind of how it happens with me, It's just funny because, again, I'm a very conservative, kind of player, at least try to consider myself. And I don't like to chase or anything like that. But these are ads that I did talk about and tweet about ahead of time, to be fair.
Can I
go ahead, please. Please.
When I think about it and I think about you, if I could say straight up and candidly, why I think your add-ons may work for you sometimes, because I think you may put on a little too much pressure with yourself to put out your content and make sure this is right and that is right. Have I thought it through? Because they're gonna say this and they're gonna say that, and then once that work is done, and maybe you've left yourself a little bit of leeway based on the work you've done, then you actually put the add-ons that make sense because now you're not putting that unnecessary added pressure, and then that's what's working because you're actually really good at this. I don't know if I need to tell you that, but
no, that's good. And this is kind of the some of the things that I wanted to talk about too, because I think there's live betting, which is a skill, and if you're good at that, that's awesome. I know a lot of friends that do that, but as far as the feels and stuff, I feel like I don't know, like it's almost like, and feel free to chime in the chat. It's almost like you're firing. You've got all your information. You've got maybe other people's information in your head, right? Because you've listened in a podcast and stuff. So
yeah.
I don't know. Chime in here. I've got a audio in my head as I'm trying to do finish
absolutely.
my share.
I think that we talk about it a lot, right? Whether it's the echo chamber of Twitter. Whether people they just pile on this dog or they pile on this favorite, and you just kind of lose track of what thoughts are yours, like originally even, and what thoughts people have kind of added shit into that you kind of like or can agree with. And then sometimes, you just talk yourself out of things as time goes on, and it's just tough because sometimes you're firing confidently and then that doesn't pan out, and then sometimes you backtrack and that doesn't pan out either. To be profitable in sports gambling is incredibly fucking difficult, and people want immediate results, quick results, and that's just not how sports gambling works. Especially for at least somebody like me that just wants to play long term in general. Anyway, my goal was that I didn't have to go into my bank account whenever I wanted to place a bet. The idea was that there was money there and I'd always have money there so I could place a bet whenever I wanted. It wasn't to buy a car off of this or do something crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when we talk about, leaving money on the table, I think that's also like a fear. You're like, as far as for why
FOMO.
you would pull the trigger.
FOMO all the time.
Yeah.
FOMO on everything, whether it's a place to eat or what bet on anything. I get FOMO about everything. It's bad for me.
And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it here from top to bottom. But there's definitely a lot of things because again, you got to be able to learn from your nights. You gotta win or learn or get kicked out of the stadium without your shoes. Is that the John Kavanaugh saying there from tonight?
Apparently. What happened there? Were they fucking around? They were probably fucking around.
I don't know
Maybe they weren't.
I don't know. Either way, Johnny Walker seems like a guy to ride the gimmick. Hopefully he got his paycheck. We'll get to his result here. Nice to see Mark Fellows, ATB in the chat. Feel free to chime in, guys. But we're going to go from top to bottom here. So starting from the top as I got the tab pulled out.
Just like Drake said, started from the top, now we're here, right?
That's right. That's right. I thought you were going to say just like Jailman had as far as pulled out, but we'll get to that. Nate Diaz defeated Tony Ferguson via submission guillotine. Round 4. I'm glad I stayed away from the Diaz sub, which sounded kind of sexy at first. This, of course, is when he opened as a favorite. Of course, the line flipped. I don't hate anybody that grabbed Tony at plus money. But even though I'm not going to pretend to be confident just because I cashed the bet, I wasn't confident, ridiculously confident in the pick. But the more I thought about it, was like, yeah, Tony with the abbreviated camp in 3 rounds, Nate training for 5. Again, not to sound like Dana White, but the size. And again, something I was thinking about too, I don't think I articulated well as I bounced the ball back to you, Guru, but last minute spots people were talking about. I saw my guy Luca Fury tweeting about that, and the smart people were saying this, is that these kind of things make for crazy results. Crazy times make for crazy results, right? For the fighters and stuff, and you see a lot of it. And maybe that was my kind of excuse back to our previous conversation as far as the bets, because you're right. I am a guy that's like nuts on prep, right, Guru? But at the same time, I tweeted that gif of everybody scrambling like the media. It's because we all have to scramble to rewrite our articles. And as bettors, you have to redo your process. Now, if your process is just going by the feels and throwing darts, I'm not hating. I envy you. That works great. For me, not so much. And I've got articles, dude, that involve betting, right? So, there I go looking to, what? Hamzat sick? Hamzat, right? And we'll get to that, and you start firing. But bouncing the ball back to you, did anything there I say make sense, or am I just rambling nonsense?
No, dude, you make so much sense, and anybody that doesn't understand you just is not operating on the correct plane. What you're talking about is so true, because 24-hour notice, I have to scramble to rethink how the fight's gonna go, and I'm talking to TB about it, obviously, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know how Tony and Nate is even gonna play out. And he's like, well, what do you mean? You just watched all the tape? I'm like, no, when I watch the tape, I watch it from a certain perspective. If I'm looking for something else, I have to watch the fight completely over again. Like, it's just, I just look for different things sometimes.
Yeah, so totally. That's very smart. Yes, you do.
So of course we're all fantasy playing. Oh, how would Tony versus Nate play out? Great. Right. I didn't think any of that shit through. So until I actually go to tape and start digging in on it, it's all hypotheticals. So what would Hot Belly Elephants? So
absolutely.
South Park episodes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great reference. All right, I got you. But no, you're absolutely right. And these crazy things can happen, right? Back to what I was the original point I was rounding to. And when you think about it, Nate Diaz has always traditionally done well in these situations, right? Like you got the Connor with 196. You got, whether it was bad camps. I was making fun of him that he always had excuses, but say what you will, bad camp or not, he still was an underdog for a reason, big underdogs in a lot of his fights, so he arguably overperformed. And in these chaotic scenarios, he does well, whereas I was thinking Tony, I'm like, man, last minute opponent change. Remember Lando Venata? I mean, that was the fight that everybody would throw. Now it's fine when you use it as an example, but when I was like trying to defend Tony's case on his ultimate run, people once that fight happened, that was people would throw back at you every time. What about Lando? Lando got
stuck out like a sore thumb. Yeah,
right. And you think about it. Well, that was what? That was last minute, right? That was off of a big. That was off of a big week. They didn't have anybody. It was amongst the many Khabib Tony pullout series, right? And what other last minute things did Tony not do too great on? Justin Gaethje. Granted, that was that weird, first of the pandemic card, so that's more forgivable. But again, no matter the circumstances, these last minute circumstances have not been kind to Tony, right? Southpaws, he's a bit split on his record, 3-2. Now he's officially 3-3, losing to Nate tonight. So to see
those Southpaw stats,
those
are so good.
But to see that, to see the line flip and then go from the plus 110 all the way up to a plus 130, at least the houses that I play. I had to jump on it, and I felt like I could have been chasing, because, again, if that 1.5 ad, that's a big ad, right? Especially for me, who doesn't play over 100%. A unit much. But if that misses, that all that adds to is my debt, right? So it's like, it's one of those things, and I play in about 3 houses. Only one lets me round robin. So I pretty much, I came close to coming back to even in 2 of the 3 houses. Obviously, the house that I round robined in, that's about one unit and 7 ducats and $7 more that I play in the other houses. Right. And but I don't know what the math was. Maybe some kind of discrepancy in the numbers. But I actually came, even though I should be just outside of a unit in that house, I actually came just within a unit. So don't get me wrong, a losing night nonetheless here. But I'm not trying to feather my nest. I'm just trying to be grateful because if you look at my plays again, why I'm kind of reluctant to take credit off the top of the show. The original plays I put out were crap, and I'm not proud of that. So I was able to save myself, and again, I posted publicly so you could follow along. But that's where I ended up. Was it a crazy night result wise for you? Again, not to make excuses of the crazy shuffle up, but it was a crazy night, right, Guru?
Oh, listen, and especially for me, it was a really, really crazy night. After 5 straight weeks of at least 8 wins, in each of the 5 weeks, I had 4 total tonight. I took the dog shots where there wasn't a reason to be taking dog shots. We'll talk about that.
Sure.
I
Same.
didn't, and then I believe, if I counted correctly, which there's a very good chance I did not, I believe 7 dogs won tonight, which is just, I've been watching UFC for a long time. Yeah. It's usually about for a 12-fight card, it's usually about 3 or 4 dogs, pretty fairly consistently.
Less on the pay-per-views too, by the way.
And then there you go, because they're also usually a little bit chalkier. And then you get the title fights.
And more proven sample sizes.
Yep, exactly. So better fighters, all those types of things, higher level of experience. But generally speaking, about 3 dogs per card, 3.5, 4 dogs a card. That's the idea. 7 dogs is a fuck ton. And Nate Diaz being one of them. And if you thought Nate Diaz was going to win, you took the flyer on him, great. I really do applaud you, and that's awesome. I don't think, if you were being honest with us, though, if whoever the Nate Diaz better is, that you saw the fight going that way, that he would have won round one, that he won round 1 on the feet. No, dude, it was truly an incredible performance from Nate. And unfortunately, I think we're going to continue to make excuses for Tony, but I think he's just completely washed. I love the guy, and maybe I'm just salty because I believe I've lost, the last 4 fights in a row on him, because I think I've taken him each time after convincing myself back on him each time. Each of them, I took him for whatever reason. I took him dumbly versus Gaethje. I took him dumbly versus Charles Oliveira, and then I promised myself I wouldn't take him versus Beneil, and I think I just fumbled the bag and ended up back on him. And then here tonight, how did you the echo chamber? Oh, the line flipped, and then it's a scramble, and you're thinking about other things, and Nate didn't look very good, at least body type wise. I thought at weigh-ins that Tony looked better, so I'm just okay, and that's a shitty way to handicap. That's not the way that you want to do things, and it's certainly not part of my process, and because of it, the result is not as good.
Well, in your defense, I'm a Nate better who cashed, and I said the same thing at the top. I didn't see it going that way, and B, I'm not going to pretend now, because even though I picked Nate and I bet Nate, ain't no way in hell that I'm as confident as the bet was. So I will definitely come clean on that, folks. You guys know me. And the second, what Guru's saying there, Nick Wilson says, I just put it up. Said Luca is saying on Twitter that Tony let the sub happen and didn't fight the hands. He definitely didn't do a good job of fighting the hands, but it was so deep into the fight.
He wanted out of there. He wanted out. But he was so battered.
I don't know if that's what Luke is saying, so I definitely don't want to put words in my man's mouth. I'd have to see the context of it. But yeah, as far as the didn't fight the hands, that's how you, the commentary, were calling it before the tap actually happened. It was very classic Nate as far as that guillotine. He's always had that, and I did look at also the body type again. I said on the one of the break again. Feels like I just did so many shows this week. 'Cause I did the analysis. I did a show with TB. I did a preview, except we did it over on my channel this time with my buddy Aaron. But yeah, man. Sorry, what was I saying? Fucking don't get hit in the head, folks. No, but I didn't see that first round going that way as far as the striking goes, and
he dominated. He was a step aheader. He was faster on the feet. He was more damaging. Even when he was getting hurt with the leg kicks, if you do any tape on Nate, what does he do in the Leon Edwards fight when he's hurt to try to distract you? He sticks his ass out against the cage. He'll lay around. He starts to play games. Anything to get you pissed off and not chopping at his leg. And he manages to do it again. It's just it's wonderful. And what I really loved about it for Nate is not only the win, but it's another signature moment. He channels his brother with the playing around and
Yeah.
just more signature classic UFC
Yeah,
and
yeah.
classic Diaz brothers.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad that happened because I did talk about that this week as far as Nate will buy time that way, and there's a lot of reasons why it would work, right? Buy time to get your gas tank back, get your leg stability back, which he was clearly dealing with and trying to sell
Yeah.
by leaning against the cage. And it was letting Tony back in as a Nate better. I was sweating there, and Tony was fighting smart, and I was like, maybe it was Nate like afraid of the elbows, knowing his scar tissue, and he just had that Anthony Pettis up against the cage replay in his head where he's like, I'm not going to clinch him. When that kind of was the thing I was calling for, I thought he could out grapple and force some bad stuff out of the clinch if he forced those things. And I'm not sure if his corner just made the Anthony Pettis note in his head to be like, fight him like you fought Pettis. Use front kicks and tie marches. That'll protect your legs. That'll allow you to close distance. That'll allow you to attach punches, right? And get your pressure going. That'll push Tony to the fence with the way he moves. Because that was another thing as far as you saying Tony was shot earlier. It's hard.
I think that's just kind of what was open at the time too, because the way Tony was fighting all fight, right? He's ducking like this crazy. He's throwing crazy elbows. He's finishing every combination with stupid spins and giving his back. So like, I'm a layman. I've never fought before, but I'm thinking while your top half is being all crazy like this, what's there? You just keep kicking the body and working the legs, and that's kind of what Nate was doing. He
had a good himself as well. And the thing is, it's really tough to to kick when you're going, backwards and getting that pressure. And it feels like it clicked for Nate in that later round, and he was able to get that. And he, once he clinched on his terms or forced that, it immediately forced a bad reaction where he was able to get that choke. And you kind of saw it almost happen a bunch of times before because it would force bad reactions, like you said, to turn. And what I was going to say there, it's hard to blame you for, saying maybe Tony shot or in that direction because his own corner is saying, don't turn your back. They're just punches. It's really bad to hear your corner say that. I would not turn your back or anything, but like, that's the level of stuff like, a low level, person like myself would be hearing in sparring, you know what I'm saying? And that was really rough. But in these fighters' defense, and we'll talk about that, especially with D-Rod and Leach again, when you have these matchups, you're going to have, these mix-ups. It's going to be weird. It's like none of us should really be too surprised, when you do this to the fighters like that, So, I will say that, but yeah, Nate takes it in round 4. I'm not sure anything else to add. Yeah,
incredible moment. That was the best part of this fight, though. The fact that one of these legends, one of these unbelievable pioneers, was going to get to come away with a hallmark moment for their career. That was the best part of the whole rearranging of everything.
Absolutely. Before we go to the next fight, Mark Fellow says, Dana says no one got a bump and pay to switch opponents. Shitty.
Either, listen, or by the way, that's a complete lie that he says to the press, so no other UFC fighters get to thinking that that's what happened, and whatever happened behind closed doors is what happened anyway. It's a contract. Who cares?
Right, yeah.
But it's possible. It's what. You're right. They totally had my balls in a vice, and I had to double up. Come on, he's not going to say that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give those managers any ideas too, right? All right, co-main event. Khamzat Chimaev defeated Kevin the Smack Man Holland. Really fast, man. He got the choke. We all saw it happen. I will say, real quick, did you catch this part? I saw some chatter. Mark Fellow said, did Khamzat do it? Nadia Kassem, fake touch of the gloves there.
It wasn't that he kind of faked it. It's that Kevin Holland was like fairly obviously going for a high five, and he just was like didn't want any part of it, and like immediately was in on a takedown 2 seconds in.
Yeah, and again, I picked Khamzat officially. I'm not saying that he wasn't skilled. I think there's writings back in 2020 of me publishing that he has real skills in breaking those down. So But yeah, man, you're gonna put crazy odds in MMA. It's just one of the. This is the most volatile sport. That's really the only justification you need when you have giant odds. First off, and secondly, I will say, even though he dominated and won by sub, shout out to my guy Ben Folks MMA. He had the plus 700 on the prop squad sheet. It's always good when at least one of us hit, right? I kind of wrote the Kevin Holland side, even though in the breakdown I wrote that I'm picking Chimaev to kind of recreate what Brendan Allen did. I didn't think it might happen until end of round one or round two. Chimaev really just sold out for it, man. And Holland, to his credit, was doing Granby rolls and really trying to doing some folk style.
He looked incredible.
Escapes, yeah. It's credit to
against
him.
Anybody, right, Dan? Against anybody else, he gets up.
Yeah, again, I know Kevin Holland is not known for his wrestling. It's not the greatest defense. I'm sure there's a ceiling on it that's not super high. I'm the guy saying that, we're going to, to fade Holland because he was getting stupid odds for a while at welter. Obviously, a grappler like Chimaev is a little too obvious, right? He gets the big favorite distinction stylistically and hype, right? But yeah, he has shown improvements, and that is kind of crappy that he was getting crapped on because he has shown improvements in the past. Considering the circumstances and Khamzat getting the jump on him, that actually was really good. And how about the circumstances of the fighters having, again, do this shuffle for reported no extra pay for our entertainment? So for people to, again, be shitting on these guys, even Tony with the, we're 5 in a row now, right? And we're suspecting that he shot. Like, I love Tony Ferguson. We're not hating on Tony Ferguson here. He's one of my favorite fighters. So I it is crappy to see Holland kind of get that against, one of the, better wrestlers out there. And go ahead. No, go ahead.
This was a win to me, and I feel like I'm a fairly intelligent individual. And anybody that could even see into this situation, this was a win-win situation for Kevin Holland because he constantly has put himself in this situation with Dana White in the UFC to be the guy that they call on in this situation, and he takes a guy on Khamzat Chimaev that nobody wants to fight. And he takes a fight that nobody thinks he can win. And you know what? He does the best he can. Nobody lands any strikes. He lives to tell another tale. If he wants, he can probably get another fight in before the end of the year, as long as he really didn't take any injuries. If his neck and whatever is fine from the choke. You know what? I hate to be that guy, but I will take a tiny victory lap because it was the very small thing that I actually was able to do correctly. We did.
Nice.
And I didn't bet it correctly, so it doesn't really matter. By the end of the night, I didn't bet anything, but we totally on the emergency pod. So hopefully somebody that was listening and watching checked it out. I said specifically that Khamzat Chimaev was, if he wanted to win this fight, couldn't and wouldn't respect the striking of Kevin Holland, that he would go in right away and try to smash him, and he would get specifically a submission because FanDuel had a boost up that Khamzat would get the KO, and I said I love fading those boosts, so I said for sure he's getting the sub, and that's how that happened.
Nice. I was already just more exposed that I wanted to be on the fight. And my initial bet was the $5 bet on Diaz plus 3,500 sub round 2. And I actually had the Khamzat props. But that was the thing too. Like, I was actually gonna originally do that, but there was some confusion on that as far as being able to find sub method props, which apparently I am able to do. But I got to get them through FanDuel and DraftKings, and I'm in Vegas, so I don't have access to those lines.
Oh, geez.
And it wouldn't have mattered anyways, because obviously that original booking of Nate Chimaev was canceled. So in a scramble, I was just like, I'll just take the Holland side. I'll write up the Holland side. And I already kind of committed to it in the in our private chat. And we try to aim for stuff that's like over plus 400, and there really wasn't anything else that I was on. And you know me, I don't. Someone asked, and in good faith, much love to this person, but like they were like, "Oh, did you play this?" And I'm like, "When have I never not played something that I publicly put out there? I'm not that person. There are plenty. It is more common than you'd like to, you'd like to realize, especially amongst the media. But like, no, I put my money where my mouth is. So all those circumstances were tough. So that's why I was one of my messages in the what do you call it, in the thread earlier kicking off was that keep in mind, because again, I back to people shitting on Holland or other fighters, like, be a little extra. I mean, we should be disrespectful anyways, to be honest, because it's fucking the right thing to do. But be a little extra respectful, even by MMA Twitter and MMA, gambling standards, to the fighters, to the content creators,
Always.
even to the media and to the UFC, as far as specifically I'm not talking about
Dude,
Dana
how
White
about
or
just
whatever, like,
everybody everywhere? How about just be kind?
yeah,
Period.
be kind, period. But I don't think people realize that, like, everybody in the industry or space, like, have to redo
Yeah.
all their, And I know it's like, well, we just have podcasts or whatever, but like, I'm just talking about everybody, right? Everybody had to redo
Yeah.
something. Obviously, the fighter's number one,
For sure.
most sacrifice. So I just think that was something for people to remind them, to be reminded of. But yeah, so I was just amongst that scramble, man. It was just stupid. That's why even when I put out the bets, at least, I know it's not the most confident thing to see, but at least I'm being honest, right, folks? When I say this is dumb, don't follow. Here's an option instead, and that option, by the way, cashed. You know what I'm saying? So at least I did that. Is that I don't know. Am I talking crazy here, Guru?
No, absolutely not. Again, like, that's what our show is. Ian Parker, other people, like, they have betting shows that you go on here, 15-minute blast of these are my fucking bets, and
Right.
they're really good, and that's what's up. I'm like, I even said on a tweet tonight, like, have sarcastic, like, maybe it's time to hang up the gambling shoes and just do breakdowns, because they're selling picks or selling yourself to try to get people to listen to your picks, and it's just, let me talk all my angles about the fights, because I can clearly see it. I like to think of gambling on fights as like it's SATs, right? Or any standardized test. There's a bunch of good answers that fit. That's awesome for you. Like, but you got to pick the best one. And I was never great at standardized tests anyway. So.
Yeah, same here, my man. But yeah, Chimaev gets it done, and all the Smesh Bros are happy.
Smesh.
But I'm telling you, man, there's reasons why people, analysts who even picked Chimaev, like me, or they picked him more confidently and didn't sprinkle on the other side like a dummy like me, are saying that it's problematic because, in defense of my silly pick, it would have looked good if he didn't get that choke because of all the energy that he was. Again, I talked about that. That was the thing. Like, it was really easy to be like, Chimaev, good wrestling. Kevin Holland, bad. I like Chimaev. I like undefeated guy, which is why,
I like Smash.
yes, which is why it's just like, which is why I actually, like, genuinely love the Khabib meta that Khamzat poorly does, by the way. Because, by the way, another funny thing, the people trashing Holland while trying to suck Khamzat's cock. It's like, okay, if he's so bad at wrestling, then and Khamzat is God's greatest gift, why was Holland able to get up so many times and just stand right up?
Yeah, and that was the thing. If he was able to keep surviving, like, which he clearly wasn't going to be able to,
Right.
if he was able to keep surviving, Khamzat was getting tired. Like I had
Totally,
said,
yeah.
when I was predicting it, like, he had to go full force to get him out of there because if he didn't, he did not have a good chance to win the fight.
And he would have obviously controlled him, right, for the rest of the round. But where would he have needed to put down the pack to recoup, Guru? Where would he needed to do that? Where's he historically needed to do that? The few times.
He got to do it on the feet. No.
Which round? Which round? No, which round was he going to recover?
Wait.
Hamzat.
For Khamzat or for
Yeah.
Oh, Khamzat to recover. Yeah, he takes off in the second round. That's not usually a good round for him.
That's why I played. That's why I picked round 2, round 3, and round 4, because if it got there, he was going to be in bad shape. So that was the basis of the pick. And even though it didn't get there, he was playing right into that for what it was worth. And that is a trend. Again, under complete different circumstances, he still doesn't care about his pacing. That's really bad.
No, I knew that he wasn't gonna, because he had to get out. It didn't matter. Like, he said, and he even kind of said it while he's screaming, like, subtly, like, in his post-fight speech. He's like, I'll die in this octagon. I'll die in this octagon. Like, yeah, like, his game plan was one to either win or die.
Yep.
So he went to win.
Yeah. So there'll be a spot to like legit actually, like, to legit fade him. But I just hope that we see him against a better wrestler to see more to someone to force him to see more of his game, and so we get a better idea of his ceiling as far as the striking and stuff goes. Again, I wasn't not picking him. I'm not hating on him. It's just me. It's again I like these fighters, but it's again ensign. Love the music, hate the fans, and that's me.
Yeah.
It's the fans.
Oh my God,
it's the fans that annoy me.
The fans were ruthless. They were booing like crazy. Hamzat went full heel.
No, yeah, totally. I'm talking about like nut hugger fans though. Like, and I'm not a big sports guy, but like this is the same complaint I imagine big franchise sports fans happen. The bandwagon fans, because they're like, ooh, who's successful? Oh, okay. Since I can't accomplish shit in life, I'm gonna go jump on this and fucking get on there and use their another human being's accomplishment as my own, so I can run in random people's arguments and just shit on them and whatever off of someone else's accomplishments that aren't mine, because I'm not fucking doing anything. But there's a zero next to his name, or this is a multi-championship team, or whatever. Like I hate bandwagon fans, and I was a Chicago Bulls fan in the '90s, folks. But I was a Pippen fan, not a Jordan fan, and I'd be complaining. I'd be complaining in the wins. The commentators aren't giving the rest of the team. They're too focused on Jordan. The stats makers, it doesn't match my stats that I took. So again, I keep that same energy, folks, even when I too fall on the bandwagon side that you would think. But yeah, that's just a whole nother tangent. I hate. That's why I hate like any undefeated fighter, because it's just like it's gonna bring about the most annoying fans. Smash, 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 smash. Like, yeah, you guys go smash each other. Go.
No, that's funny.
Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
I think no, it's true though. It's in all sports. It's everywhere.
It
right?
is,
In basketball, right? In basketball, everybody's a Golden State Warriors fan all of a sudden. Really, where were you when Chris Webber was on the day when they were terrible? Like, come on, fucking. You're not fooling anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, it's okay to be a Khabib or a Khamzat fan. I have plenty of friends that
of course.
So that's not a personal thing, folks. It's just me talking shit here. Daniel Rodriguez defeated Li Jingliang to finish this trifecta of the shuffle matches. I did not play this fight. I picked Rodriguez, but was rooting for Lee. I guess I was right. Now, I think this was a legit close fight where you could have cases for both sides. But was this a case where the commentary was on one, which, and they kind of painted the narrative, which made it seemed more one-sided, because we were getting live lines of like minus 1,400 for Li Jingliang, and what was a close fight. I will admit I was tuning in and out on some parts with whatever I was kind of cooking, or with a laptop, or eating with my girlfriend and watching the screen. But to me, it looked like what I kind of suspected, as far as Lee looking lost as far as what to do against the southpaw. And at least early, I know that Rogan's commentary was way off, because he was like, wow, Lee's swinging hard, and he was trying to turn that narrative, which was a nothing narrative and not properly describing what was going on, and he was kind of using it to paint that Lee was winning. And I don't know about that. And I know we have the second round where Rodriguez arguably did more work / won more time of the round, but gets hurt at the end. So how do you go? You could really make an argument either way. That's just off my memory. How does that sound? How did it track to you, this fight?
Yeah, that you certainly could be on it. To me, in these it is a close fight at the end of the day. It's tough for me at times, because I do sometimes feel that I get swayed by my bet sometimes too. So I think that's difficult.
You had a bet on this one? Sorry,
I did. Yes, no, of course I did. We were on Li Jingliang as an underdog. Yeah, it was tough, especially because it was. I thought he for sure had the first 2 rounds in the bag, and then that third he just kind of didn't throw as much. Was kind of how I interpreted it. I'm a huge fan of Verdict MMA. Right, you crowdsource instead of just having 3 judges. You get the opinions of the masses, so you get thousands of people live scoring. They scored all 3 rounds for Li Jingliang. To your point, though,
wow.
If all these people are, let's say, sheep, and they're listening to biased commentary,
oh man,
maybe they're
smart man over
all
here,
doing the right. Maybe that's what they're doing. So
yes.
that could be a problem with the premise of Verdict itself.
Well, no, but, to be fair, I know some people,
or just not even Verdict, or just
anywhere
the
decisions.
population,
I made decisions
anything,
too. So
yeah.
Anybody who's shits on verdict but holds up MMA decisions. What Guru's talking about is very real. It's human nature, folks. We can't deny that, and that affects both those platforms that are slightly different. But again, as far as offering different kind of scoring alternatives and viewpoints, or more in depth on the actual scores. The point is, and that's why we had to be. I hate to say it, especially when we see some of these more crazier scorecards come through, of course. But as far as the bulk of it, we got to trust some of these veteran judges up close, because our eyes can play tricks on us, man. I know I've been wrong plenty of times when I go back and watch a fight.
Yeah, it's just the whole. Whoa. But realistically, I don't know if you saw the scorecards themselves though. But the scorecards themselves, again, to me,
we're all over the place.
It just didn't make sense. 2 judges gave it D-Rod round 1, 2 judges gave him round 2, and then I think like all of them had given like Lee round 3 or something. Like it was fucking. It really didn't make any sense.
If they were in line round 3, that's good. If they weren't, that's probably that's bad. Okay. But from what I'm seeing and can remember, rounds 1 and 2
I have
are close,
it right
so
here.
I can't be too
they
critical
gave
off top of my head
so that's what so 2 judges gave Lee round 3, 2 judges gave D-Rod round 2, and 2 judges gave D-Rod round 1.
So it was all over the place. Okay, wow.
Right, and
wow.
It makes no sense, because like as I'm watching the fight, and like the 3rd round I thought was the most clear one not for Lee. Like, I thought he won the first 2 rounds, and then the 3rd round he didn't throw as much. So, like, do I have no fucking clue what I'm watching? Or are they? Like, I just very, very, just a whole, that was like the fight that really was just a complete kick in the dick. Or I guess kick in the liver if that's a good transition to the next fucking fight.
Yeah, let's transition to the next fight. And again, not picking on commentary here. I want to shout John Anik. He was doing a good job kind of balancing out the narrative, as he often does, because Joe and DC can kind of lock up in one direction. Whether we agree, whether they're right or not, that's just kind of a fact. I'm not trying to 100%. Pile on. And John's just fantastic on balancing that broadcast, because it's ultimately a team in that booth, and John unselfishly treats it as so, and he's the man.
John's the best.
Arin Aldana defeated Macy Chesson via 3rd round TKO. Man, I was going 3rd round knockout. I think in my official picks and plays, which was like super late last night, I was writing, right? I think I ended up like going by decision, but saying that Macy is going to slow down and Aldana is going to pull away, because she was slowing down at like 145 fights. Imagine at 135, right? Even with the mid catch weight or whatever. But I think it was the fact that Aldana didn't make her cut kept me away from the KO. Even though I should have, and hopefully you did. I know some people did that follow. Shouts to my guy Jerry Harper. Did add that Aldana KO to the round robin. But yeah, as it got closer, I'm just like, you know what? It's those things you get in your head, right? We'll talk about certain things like my gym bias kind of messing with me on a fight we'll get to, as far as calling it very, very right, spot on, but not committing to it. But that was with Aldana, because I like Aldana, but I also know that betting against Fortis MMA is a pretty decent way to lose money. Yeah. Especially they've been hot lately, and I got that in my head, and then at the end of it, I'm like, you know what, screw it. I don't want to empty out to get the 1 unit back, so I'm just gonna be happy with fight my OCD and just be happy with a sloppy 1 unit shot on that number and just get like 58 or whatever it was back, and it cashed, and I was grateful. Any takes on this one?
Yeah, no takes on this one. So, I don't like, at least based on the way that you told me that you saw it happening, like that's not exactly how I saw what happened in the fight. Like, sure. Irene Aldana smashed her round 1, and I was like, wow. Like, I was just really impressed with just that whole smashing. Like, I just did not expect it to go that way. I knew that Irene Aldana would be much better on the feet, but just the way in which she was doing it was just extremely impressive. And then you come out in the 2nd round, and Macy finally makes it dirty, right? She finally goes for those takedowns. She's on top. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. this is the dog spot that we were looking for. Grind her out. Let's
Right.
go. We thought, we saw Holm be able to get inside, right? I thought that she'd be able to do it too, and there she was. And then you go into the third round, and she's winning. She's winning the fight. She's on top. There she is. She's on top. She's on the, and she gets hit with a. I was like looking back to grab my phone for a second. It was on the charger, and then I look up, and Irene Aldana's on the floor. And shout out TB. He makes me feel okay. He's like, oh, she just kicked her in the groin. It's a groin strike. I'm like, oh, okay. But Jason Herzog's going like this, and I'm like,
no.
So it's a DQ immediately. What's happening?
Yeah, right.
And then they pull it up, and it's so clearly a toe to the ribs, and I'm like, what the
crazy.
And it's a perfect liver shot, I guess, to the. I don't even. She was perfectly fine too after getting up. Like, after showing so much, and again, I'm not a fighter, so please, anybody come punch me in the face for saying this, but after showing so much dog in her in that first round, to come out and just like from top position, eat a rib shot, and like still not play it off enough, you're so hurt, but fall on top of your opponent that's on the ground, you fall the other way and go fetal. You're so close to winning. Whatever. There goes the money. Whatever. It's fine. It is what it is. I shout out Aldana, but you know what? She's a fade to me moving forward. She didn't win dancing on the feet. She didn't win, crazy KO. Like it's just not. I mean, she did win crazy KO, but not with her hands. Like not the way that anybody would have thought that she would. So shout out her for getting the win. Insanely impressive. Hopefully they give her a fucking bonus for that, because that's nuts. But like,
yeah, that was crazy.
It's the fight game, man. So that's why we love it, and that's why we hate it, and that's why we hate to love it. It's all of it. Love
that
it.
Was crazy. Yeah. It was no, totally. It was going opposite in that regard. But as far as fading down the stretch, though, maybe the body faded, right? I shouldn't be sexist with this theory, or I talk about it just in the same weight class for the men. I know that was a catch weight, but it's supposed to be 135. And what do I say about 135? Them real tall people fading. You always see those freak durability injuries, right? At 135 when you're that low and tall. Again, I didn't really think about it to say previously, right? I'm just kind of coming to that now after we saw what we saw, trying to put it together. And, whenever someone cuts weight, I talk about this, right? Again, I got to give the same energy to the women, right? When someone cuts weight and they're tall and they're facing a good body striker. And again, this wasn't...
Softer to the body.
Yeah, softer to the body. And again, who could have forecasted an up kick from Aldana the body? Who was going to be talking about that? I'm not saying that. But again, back to the point of as far as... fading that durability as far as whether it's the gas tank or just the body itself. I'd have to go back and watch, but I feel like Aldana was the fresher fighter. I know I definitely was worried once she got taken down because, Macy could just size bully, right? We've seen that before. But yeah, I thought that, the knockout would be more from like the classic left hook or clinch strikes kind of a deal. Totally. I definitely didn't see it that way, but
crazy.
I am glad I played Aldana because I like Aldana. I'm a believer in her. I got burned with her with Holm, which is not the smartest shot to take in hindsight anyways, but that was a really, this card had a lot of bad fight IQ, but that was a epic bad fight IQ as far as just circling and circling and circling and following the whole fight. So it was good to see Aldana redeem herself now since then. Yeah,
and I think that fight IQ is literally now the next perfect segue into the next fight.
Perfect. Johnny Walker defeats E1 Cute Laba. I was making and seasoning some chicken wings. Some really good quality chicken wings were on sale. Ooh. And just real simple, just a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper. I can't get too crazy with them. With the season, with the fight season among me. But talk to me about this fight. I stayed away. I didn't have anything. I picked Cute Laba, and I was happy for all the people who bet Walker.
Yeah. No, and it makes sense. Cute Laba, like, again, somebody on paper who should just be so much better, comes from a fantastic camp, as you know, and and has all the talent, right? Powerful striking, hard-working guy, willing to mix in the grappling, decent grappling, decent top control, whatever. Like, has all the tools you need, but I mean, fight IQ. You can't teach it. You gotta have it. He just doesn't. Like, would love to buy the guy a beer, whatever. Like, no hard feelings, dude. He has now shown it time and time and time and time again. Whether it's getting submitted by Ryan Spann because you overswing yourself out of position and fall directly into a guillotine, or because you are on top and slide out of position and end up and give up your back and end up in a rear naked choke to Johnny fucking Walker. You're just constantly putting yourself in harm's way for no reason, and you're costing yourself fights. And it's you've become borderline. You become completely untrustable to bet it as a betting in the betting market. And I don't know how I did it again. I mean, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, like how? I mean, I was already burned by the Ryan Spann thing. Like, why would you do that again? So, very frustrated with myself in terms of that. But it happens. He's a favorite for a reason. You think Johnny Walker's gonna win? You didn't think he was gonna win by submission. Hey. That's why they put the gloves on. That's why they lock the doors, and that's why they have the fights, man. And that's why we watch, because anything can fucking happen. So super happy for Johnny Walker and his camp, a guy that desperately really needed a win to pump some air into his career, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was, Kavanaugh's probably, I would guess his strength is more in jiu-jitsu, as far as, as a black belt, that's more his specialty. So anybody that was just banking on that and playing that, props to them. Shout out to my guy Paul Shag. He posted some sick numbers he got on Walker by sub, man. I love seeing those, man.
He is unbelievable gambler.
Yeah.
Would love to have Paul on the pod as well. He's just he's just somebody that's like just cashing sizable tickets left and right.
Yeah, man. I love anyone taking those shots. That's and
ballsy.
Definitely balls, and worthwhile when they come through, man. It's worthwhile when they come through.
Oh yeah.
All right. So the next fight will be Julian Erosa. Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off defeated Hakeem Dawodu.
He does look like him.
Right? Yeah, I know. I told.
Is that Alan Rickman? Is that his name?
No.
Alan Rickman's fucking Snape. I don't
even know this actor's name, because every time I see him, like when he was in Speed with Keanu Reeves, and I was like, oh, it's Cameron from Ferris Bueller.
I have to look it up.
That's what I just call him every time. Cameron Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Maybe someone in the chat will. But yeah, I pretty much made the case for Erosa, but like I didn't finish my tape study.
See, that's why. Sorry. Okay, so you know what? You know how I said Alan Rickman?
Yeah.
His name is Alan Ruck.
Oh yeah, Alan Ruck. There we go. Look at that. Nice.
I don't feel that as
nice.
Stupid.
Nice.
It's like 2 guys. It's 2 a.m. over here on the East Coast.
Yeah, my brain barely works right now.
Smoking and drinking tonight, so I don't feel that bad about that. Alan Rick, shout out Alan Rick.
Yeah, Jesus, my brain's not working. But yeah, I pretty much was almost at an Erosa pick, and I'm like, you know what? Is it my dang bias here? Dawodu, it's a lot of things on paper. This could really be the point where he really breaks through, But Erosa is one of those guys where, shout out to Eric Nixick. He's one of the best in the world when he's really putting it all together. And he's hit these big upsets over and over again for a reason. He's won even arguably won some bigger fights that he didn't, get on the scorecards. Perhaps you could make those arguments if you want to. But the point is, Erosa, is a talented guy. I saw a tweet saying that dude is born to fight. And I think it was my guy, Agent Ben 10. Shout out to Ben Cohn. But yeah, he did it. And now I didn't go the distance with everybody else. I felt like that was a great angle. I had it plus 111. And then I even sprinkled on Erosa inside the distance. Just $20 I didn't want to see again, which I didn't. Or 25, which I didn't. At plus 400, which would have bucked the whole unit back return, right? Would have cleared me. That would have been nice. And that was a part of the round robin, so I would have hit 2 legs, at least for me, and then that would have been 3 legs if you did the one that I recommended you guys to take. Like, holy crap, it was all right there, right? Like, I was looking, it was all right there, and negative. The only thing I get credit for was taking Arosa and Tout Master, and he wasn't even that big of a dog, so it doesn't even give me that many points there. Guru, what do you got?
Once again, obviously not my best night, so nothing fantastic. Hakeem Dawodu was one of our big plays of the week. We played him straight up for like, I don't know, whatever it was. We had like 6 units on it or something silly. Looking at the tape coming in, he was the much better striker. Arosa, the headhunter. We felt that he would be able to move, hurt him, and keep it moving basically. But once Dawodu missed weight, I was immediately triggered, like that, hairs in the back of my neck, red flag alarm, woo woo, because all the options weren't good. He had a bad camp, he had a bad weight cut, or he didn't train hard. Like, it's none of it's good. None of the answers as to why he missed weight were good ones, especially 3 pounds. Like, it just really wasn't good. And then, for Julian Arosa to win in that way, again, like, shout out if you bet Julian Arosa money line, but I'd bet you didn't think that that's how it was gonna go. I bet you didn't think that he was gonna win 30-27 across 3 scorecards. Like, just put a fucking clinic on the guy. And Dawodu didn't look very good at all, and I bet it was because of his diminished state, whether it's mentally already going into it, or I'm sure physically, or a combination of both, and all those things going on. And I'm not honestly sure about Dawodu in general, like in terms of his overall stock, really, like how good he will actually be or is gonna be in the UFC, right? You look back at his wins in general, right? A split over Tukugov, that's probably his best win. Yikes, Trezano win doesn't mean much. A split over Arce is an aging product, not great. And then, nothing. There's nothing really there. It's unfortunate for him.
Absolutely, and why I played another dog who didn't cash and should have played this dog who I made the case for, Guru. But to your point, reading that record, when I see these fighters with a lot of splits, even when I like their style and it's technical, which is why my official pick was Dawodu for the reasons you mentioned.
Yeah.
The fact is, when they leave dangerous guys in fights and guys who finish, right, which both these dogs I'm talking about are, and just again leaving it to a close split fight, so where even if the finisher doesn't get a finish, he's got a chance because you will let guys back into fights, kind of a thing. Like, that's kind of perhaps more than enough of a reason, depending on the price and circumstance, of course, to take a shot on the dog. And so, Gratz, if you took a shot on the money line. Not even I did. Again, I only took a small stab at the inside the distance, and the fact that the fight would not go the distance. I will say some of my reads were right, but in the wrong ways, I guess. I talked about Dawodu dipping like a boxer, despite being a Muay Thai guy, but I specifically was more worried about the high kicks from a southpaw stance, a la Jamal Emmers and Arosa on Contender Series, right? That's what I was more worried about. But what was the shot? It was the uppercut that Dawodu kept to my dipping point. But I didn't mention the uppercut, so I can't take full credit there. But I did mention Dawodu dips like a boxer despite being a Muay Thai guy, and I don't like that. Someone's going to catch on to that. Mm-hmm. So props to Arosa and his team.
Yeah, shout out to Lucrative, who we had on the show, who had a rough toss. But he specifically said when capping this fight with us that that Dawodu had a chin, that he hadn't been rocked, that he hadn't been done, that like it hadn't been displayed yet because he has great striking defense, but that he's chinny. And then you look back at his Danny Henry fight, and he gets rocked and then submitted in 30 seconds. And he said that the chin would be kind of exposed here, and he started that first round. And again, is it because he's diminished from the weight cut? Is it because he's already mentally not there? Like, what happened? But he gets rocked. Or is it because I keep trying to take something away from Rosa? Or is it because Rosa's a really good striker and a headhunter, a good boxer, and he rocks him? So
right, yeah. And that's the thing. I don't want you don't want to take away from Arosa either. Never. Because I will say this, that yes, common sense is to think, well, I'm sure that, Rosa looked great, but still, I'm sure that Dawodu's missed weight cut or whatever was going on with him affected him. But coming from his camp, people from his camp, he has a rough weight cut every time. So keep in mind betting Hakeem Dawodu at 145 going from here on out. And B, he had a rough weight cut and really bad injuries and wasn't able to train and limited training situation when he fought Masvar freaking Evloev. And he still dug out a really good third round despite all that. So if we're going to give him credit for that, we got to keep the same energy too, right? And be like, okay,
that's why he earned my money, and
I know,
and it cost me my money. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I ended up picking him too. I'm like, I saw that. I was like, oh.
And now I have to reevaluate his whole stock as a UFC fighter, literally because this is the cherry on top. You've now baked me a shit cake, and I now need to reevaluate your baking skills.
I'm glad you said that, because one of the things I said was, this was a shit or get off the pot spot, and not in the sense of like the guy who's clearly on a winning streak. He clearly wins more than he loses, but to what Guru pointed out perfectly there. That's exactly what I meant, is either he was going to break through, like we said at the beginning of this recap, or now we have to kind of reevaluate, because it's like, what is it, right? So we could debate on that all day. So we'll love
to. I love talking with you, Dan Tom. This is such an honor.
I know, this is awesome, man. This is awesome. But I just want to make sure we give Arosa his love, and I hope you all do too. Not you, Guru.
Dude, do we know the bonus? I'm sorry. Do we know the bonuses? He must have got a bonus. Maybe not. He didn't get a finish. He probably didn't get a bonus, actually. But he does get some Dawodu's money. So
if someone wants to type in the chat, if you know the bonuses, if they got released, as we move on to the Jailman. Jailman Almeida defeated the Pleasure Man, Anton Turcal. Jailman went to Pound Town, and he uses Pound Town to scare him to give him their neck, and then he takes their neck, and he goes up.
That would be nice.
Yeah, he tries to put him to sleep. He Cosby's him physically, or Carradine's him. Whatever, take your pick. It's all dark and twisted.
Well, Carradine at least accidentally killed himself. Cosby's it's purposely shooting roofies in fucking people's face.
Well, he's purposely trying to put these people unconscious, so maybe he could be Cosby, and then maybe Rogerio de Lima will be Carradine, because that guy loves getting himself choked.
Yes, he does. Oh, shout out Kill Bill.
Yes.
Oh my god.
But Jailman got it done. I'm glad that was another ad that I made. I added I think Arosa Inside the Distance, that $25 ad was the only one that I missed, but I added Jailman.
That's a good one.
I forget how much. I just played the only a unit again, but it was minus 169 or whatever. So just a pocket and a half unit to help stop the bleeding, because I was bleeding like Tony Ferguson's shin at this point.
Yeah. I bled. That was me all night, man. So yeah, Jalton was a good one. Unfortunately, this was one of the ones I actually did hit, because
nice.
If you yeah, man. Listen, follow my picks at Chronic Combat. We will give you all the minus 670s that will hit. I promise you.
Easy.
No, listen, we're turning into dog hunters after this week. My goodness.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
Yeah, literally call us the dog pound, because that's all we're doing.
That's why I hate when I have a lot of chalk by the end of it. When I'm filling out my Cat Master sheet, and I'm like, I've only got this many dogs. Oh, geez.
It's just not. Yeah, it's the worst part about picking dogs is when you pick a bad one, which I did anyway tonight, and we'll get to that.
Sure.
But when you pick a bad one, you just feel so dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. It's like, why did you do that? They weren't even close. That's so dumb. But then, it is what it is, man. You feel dumb either way. So you just got to do what ends up feeling right. And Jalton Almeida winning the fight felt right. The Pleasure Man deserves to be in the UFC. Didn't get a contract. So they're like, hey, man, you really want to be in the UFC? Why don't you just for 12 grand, why don't you come do us this little favor right here and get smashed by our boy? You survive. You'll be all right. And then, you'll get another chance with a full camp. It's fine. So he goes and he does what he can, and he tries to survive, and the Pleasure Man is a grappler by nature. That's what he wants to do. He wants to grind you out, he wants to take you down, and he wants to submit you. And you're fighting fucking Jalton Almeida, and that's your path to victory. Yeah, maybe not in this fight, homie. So he gets submitted in round one. Hey, he lasted 4 minutes and 27 seconds. That's 4 minutes longer than a lot of other people.
At least he didn't call out like a 40-something-year-old shogun or something after like the other time. Like, we don't want to see you murder somebody. No, like jailman. Like, but I will say they do need to step up his competition, because if they keep giving him this level, Guru, like he's like. At this point, the jokes are going to become a reality. Like, he's just going to start. He's going to start penetrating people in there.
I like it. You make it like a little circus show. Like, what, isn't he like already 40 million years old? Like, just let him just keep fighting the absolute scrubs. Like, next, give him, you know what? Give him William Knight next. I love it. Let's go.
It's going to be bad, though. It's going to be like, oh, Jailton, he tapped him. And, oh, he's not done. What's he reaching for his trunks for? Oh no.
I want it to be pure itchy and scratchy cartoons. Just absolute maulings.
This one kind of looked like it as far as like the chasing. Dennis Tululin defeated Jamie Pickett via second round TKO. I was just like, I was gonna add Tululin, and I was like, why didn't I do it? I was like, I didn't want to add with all the ads that I made, it was silly. I was like, I didn't want to add Ann Helliger, which we'll get to, but for a whole unit, I'm like, that's too much. I'm like, well, I'll go 3/4. It's not a whole unit that way. And I saw my guy, shout out to Dan Stupp. He was smart. He split up exposure on the dogs, just half a unit apiece. And I actually picked Tululin and didn't play him, and I realized that, and the fight already started. And of course, he goes out there and gets the dub. Did you have a side on this one or a call?
I bet you could bet it was not the right one. No, yeah. So this was a fight that kind of earlier in the week. Listen, I gotta own my own shit, but like I was like, oh, I kind of want to take a shot maybe on Dennis Tully dog, and TB was like, why would we do that? No, it's a pass. It's a pass. Okay, you're right, and we did pass, but as we pass, we kind of changed tides, and we kind of end up on the Pickett side. We don't track anything, which is fine, but for our own personal pocket, and my own personal. Ever since I've started, I track every single pick I've ever made on my Instagram. So it goes for my overall record. So for my overall record, and I picked Jamie Pickett because Dennis Tululin. Why I thought I liked him in the beginning was I thought that he was a way more physical striker. I thought he was way better. He's quicker, and that if he could hurt Jamie, that it would be a problem. I also thought in reverse that every time Dennis Tululin loses a fight, he loses because of the grappling. And what Jamie Pickett likes to do is he likes to slow down the fight. It's kind of more to his pace. And then he likes to grind you up against the cage and win to a decision or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, okay, well, a guy that's not very good at grappling here, this Jamie Pickett should probably get it done. So after trusting TB, of course, I'm like, oh, you sure? He's like, dude, come on. Like, just stay away. But no, Dennis is not the one either. He's not even UFC level. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. I did watch his regional tape. Like, I know he's like not fantastic. Which, by the way, his most recent loss on the regional scene is a guy that's going to be fighting this Tuesday on Dana White's Contenders Series. So I love that type of tape where you see the incestuousness of the MMA world. So that guy's actually going to be pretty good because he beat Dennis Tululi, and he obviously deserves to be in the UFC if this guy's. He is UFC caliber, I guess, because he beats Jamie Pickett. But now, like I said, now it's similarly, you got to reevaluate Jimmy Pickett as a fighter as well. Really kind of low fight IQ. Didn't really have anything going for him here. Couldn't get going. I wonder if there was an injury or if he said maybe he felt flat or something, because he looks is a freak of nature, and he just looks fantastic when he gets into the cage, and then the fight starts, and then he does not look fantastic anymore. So
it's tough, man. As somebody who battles himself, and maybe there's a little bit of that going on in there, and that reflects through the fight. But Tululin, I don't know if he's still training over at Extreme Couture. He looks familiar, the cat, and I didn't get to tape this one, and this is if I don't look at it, it's hard for me to just kind of like completely blind bet. I'm not really comfortable, so that's probably why I laid off it too. But Chris Barnett defeated Jake Collier via second round TKO. I did not lay off that. I had Collier in a parlay, and I was wanting some action because again I wanted some early action, which is why I took the Ann Helliger shot, which we'll get to in a second. That went down. And I was like, you know what? I was like, wow, the fight doesn't go the distance is actually pretty playable for chalk wise. I can't remember what it was, but it was somewhere the -1 something, which was playable to me. So I actually laid it for the full, for like to get a unit or so back. I think it was -130. Yeah, and I put 1.5 units on it. For a fight doesn't go, I believe, or was it the under? The under. Either way, it was very reasonable. I felt, and I said, sadly, I might need this as a hedge, but I was hoping to just double dip, right, and Collier wins inside the distance, because I got priced out of inside the distance, and I didn't want to choose, Parker, between sub.
Choose.
Parker, yeah, choose. You have to choose.
You do that really well.
I didn't want
awesome.
to. I didn't want to have to face Willem Dafoe. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, let me go. Let me just take the fight doesn't go, and. Yeah, unfortunately,
great
I needed it. Well, yeah, yes, yeah, it was, but I ended up needing it though, because Collier went down, and I don't hate the stoppage. Collier,
He gave up.
No, not that. As far as if anybody was complaining, as far as Mark Smith not stopping it, like I bet Collier, and I'm not complaining about that because it was just one of those things where. It was the same thing that got Collier in trouble. It was the same reason why he didn't get the stoppage. Is that weight, man? It's like a cow. Once you tip over, he couldn't get up. But conversely, when he was on top, he was having a hard time getting the leverage because he just needed a couple more steady shots, and Smith was ready to stop it. But it was just one of those things that Barnett was responding every time Smith said move, and Collier could not base himself. I mean, it was a lot of weight on both ends. Granted, it was a heck of a dogfight. He was tired. I'm not hating on the guy, but I'm just saying it was. I would reserve hating on the referee because I'm biased and I bet it, and I'm okay with the stoppage.
Yeah, well, so whichever way you want to look at it, we'll look at it in terms of our breakdown. This was the sixth of 6 catch weight bouts on this card.
Yeah, it was.
So that's freaking nuts. For starters, Jake Collier absolutely decimated Chris Barnett in round 1.
Yeah.
Sent the man to the hospital. I was fairly certain that the fight would be stopped in between rounds. All you really had to do was block his one eye and then ask him if he could see how many fingers this was. And the fight should have. I thought he was like stroking out on his face, or obviously had some sort of nerve damage. I didn't know what was happening. And then again, similar to the Macy Chiasson thing a little bit. It's like you. Do you have the cojones? What do you got? Chris Barnett? If you think he's too big at 267, his heart must be 200 of those 267 pounds. That man is a fucking dog. To come out and put on, to keep going. I mean, that's fucking crazy.
I just found when you said his heart, I just picture like one of those morgue scenes of the movie where they autopsy and they boom and you hear the thud on the table, like, and it was like, oh Jesus.
Yeah,
that's a stomach or whatever. That doesn't work.
It's on like one of those. It's on one of those like meat scales too.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sorry, folks, that imagery. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that's gross, but it's very funny. I'm totally with you. But dude's a fucking animal to come out like that and put Jake away. But that's what I'm saying. Jake didn't want to be there, and he could not get obviously after finishing cutting weight, I'm sure he ballooned back up to like 280 or whatever the fuck. This 280-pound behemoth just sitting on his chest, raining down punches on him. And he was tired and mentally defeated. Like he couldn't believe that the fight was still going or whatever, that he didn't get the sub. So I hate to, like, if this whole night was a stab wound, this is twisting the knife. This was one of the biggest plays we've ever laid for whatever reason. And it was it had Jake Collier in it. And obviously it goes down because for whatever reason. And it's just, if you've handicapped MMA for 10 minutes, you would know that any heavyweight line above -250 should give you immediate pause. So what the fuck are we doing? Well, I'm watching tape, and Jake Collier is clearly the more technical striker. He switches stances. He did. Yeah. Okay, dude, that's fucking great. When was the last time technique mattered in a heavyweight fight? What the fuck are you talking about? What? That's being you're
Right, yeah.
outthink you're
Absolutely, yeah.
fucking you're running before you even put on your shoes and socks. Like what are you talking about?
We get these
So
reminders all the time, even when the favorite wins, right? We get these reminders, right? So
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just
I'm
you're
just
absolutely
I'm
you're
putting
right. You're right.
I'm putting lipstick on a pig. Like I don't know how many terrible analogies I can think of right now, but it was just there's no fucking reason to be on Jake Collier. It makes zero sense in terms of any logical betting handicapping that we've ever learned or practiced.
And
So
that happens to the best of us, man. We break our own rules. Like, why did we do that? Why did I do that? Why did I get burned on this? But I will say, the thing is with these ones, I will say with a card like this, it's like that thing, it's kind of a crude analogy, but like
hit me.
a 10 as far as like, a really good looking person or whatever. If you're in a room, if you're in a room full of, sixes, the four starts to look like an eight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's dangerous. It gets dangerous in there. And again, I'm not calling Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson sixes, although or anything like that, or Khamzat Chimaev sixes. But you get what I'm saying? Like you get a lot of people were staying away from those mixed up cards for a good reason, and I don't blame them. So you immediately could take those off the board. You could take the other outpriced ones off the board or volatile fights. And then you start saying, well, I need something. And, well, it is a high price. It is heavyweight, but this is a sure shot. He's going to beat Chris Barnett. Barnett missed weight. And da-da-da-da. You talk yourself into it. Next thing you know, you're big on a heavyweight.
There was really nothing that I had seen from Chris Barnett other than his incredible heart, which has always, and his amazing personality, which had always been on tape. That was always there. There was nothing but that for him working for him in this fight. But it's all he shows you again. It's all he fucking needs. So I have to swallow that and eat that. And the worst part is, and I'm truly just being honest with myself, I'm sitting there with my biggest bet of the night on the thing. And after watching Jake Collier beat the piss out of him in round one and him still there, I'm like, I kind of want Chris to win. Right? That little part of you. Little part of you, because you love to see the dog win and you love to see it.
Yeah.
And he does the flip, and so I'm
I
happy
couldn't
to
even
see
be
it
mad.
for him.
I couldn't even be mad.
I definitely could be. I was more but like I wasn't even mad at him. I was just more myself, and I guess that's why I am when I said I twisted the knife. Like I actually am happy to come here and talk to you about it, even the bad ones, because it will. First off, I will remember it even more, so now I can learn from it even better. And number two, the whole maybe to learn, and if I have some following, and you certainly do as well, if I can help somebody learn too, then I'm happy to be a lesson.
That's why I do these too, man. That's why I do these too. Pulling from this knowledge. But speaking of twisting the knife, now I'm trying to be devil's advocate yet defend everybody as well. Especially the fighters and the people, the thankless jobs and stuff like that. But man, twisting the knife, we were so close to getting that Dumont submission in the round robin, and for her to say to be so smug and say I wanted to teach her about jiu-jitsu when you don't get a submission win. And you don't even get a takedown until 7 minutes halfway into the fight, and at that those were like you were reluctantly going to those takedowns or taking those positions. I was just like, you know what? You bet what you bet. I'm happy she got the win. She was a parlay leg that was still alive at the time, but I was just like, do you really got to go and say that you wanted to show her the jiu-jitsu when everybody was waiting for you to do it, and the commentary and the bettors to everybody else like. I don't know. Well, Guru, what'd you have in this one?
You know what? Again, like I'll give you the long story because I guess I have to. Look at headlines. I had parlayed Whitaker just for my own personal stuff, I parlayed Whitaker to win round 3 or decision to Dumont money line because I was searching for just something to cash, and that's just what. So like
Nice.
obviously pre-tape, that's how I was thinking.
Right.
Okay, then we go into the pod, and we're like, okay, we'll do the chalky parlay for 1 unit. We'll do Collier, Almeida, and Dumont.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
Great
that's what
for
I
at
was
least
on.
1
Yeah.
unit, whatever. But then somehow through all of this, and again looking at face-offs, which mean nothing, we're like we get totally spooked off Dumont to where we pull her out of that parlay, and then we make that huge parlay with Jake, which obviously burns the house down, and then we decide, that this is where we want to take our little couch cushion sprinkle on a dog money line here.
Oh, man.
Why? Based on what? The weigh-ins that like she doesn't know
Female dog
technique.
MMA.
Yeah,
WMMA
yeah,
dogs.
that's it. Just but like just
No, I hear
obviously
you,
we
I
were
hear
we
you.
were wrong a
Right.
decent amount tonight, so we're just barking the beautiful old saying, we're just a dog barking up the wrong tree here. So
Hey,
we're on the wrong. We were just, and we like Dumont. But again, we like Dumont and the congestion sometimes, and yeah, it happens. So we took and it was a half unit stab, like whatever. It wasn't a big deal, and meant nothing to us in terms of our night,
sure.
overall. But just brick by brick, the shit house that we built. This was an unfortunate place to be. We should, again, the half unit should have been on Chris Barnett. Why would you take it on Danielle Wolf? Like, if you're gonna do it, you do it in heavyweight MMA where you can get a freak finish. You don't do it
Yeah.
in women's MMA with the girl that has won
Oh,
MMA fight and she didn't get a
Right.
knockout and she didn't look good and she hasn't fought in 2 years and she just what?
We did have a women's freak finish, but it was the favorite. But yes, no, to your point. Yeah, I get
Right.
you.
Yes.
But yeah, Dumont and her dump truck drives on through. Alatong Haley.
That thing is incredible.
Yeah.
That thing is world class.
World class. Yeah, it's a fan favorite attraction. Haley Alatang defeated.
Yes, her grappling skills.
Yes.
Yes, of
defeated
course.
Chad and Helliger via unanimous decision. Of course, this was the dog. I should have listened to the people in the chat. The team Magnum was telling and again I know about those Mongolians going to fight ready, and I know all about that. It wasn't that I needed to be sold there. When I finally went to watch the tape, I had people I respect on one side, I had people I respect on others, so I can't really say I was swayed, right? Because I felt like my circle was like split, right? So I don't know if I was swayed by anybody. So I went to watch the tape this morning myself, and as I wanted something early, to maybe hit, and then you kind of free roll into the card, right? I kind of structure that too. So that's another reason why, in my defense, I'll leave stuff to be added later because I want to see how the night's going, how I'm hitting, right? So that's kind of how it will go. So sometimes by that nature, which is not right, folks, and it's very dangerous. I got to be aware of this. By that nature, I may be more apt to take shots early in the card than maybe I should be because I'm gonna want some ammo later, right? I'm gonna want some free ammo from the card. I don't want to risk it all up front because I'm a cheapskate, right? I want to see what I can get from the card and cherry pick, right? Yeah. So it was one of those things. I think that was kind of again, it was only 3
You know what you should spend that money on?
What's that?
A monorail.
Monorail. He's just peddling easy answers for easy money. And how? That was great. But yeah, just like you're saying, it wasn't much as far as your half unit, but that's the whole point of us talking about this. We got to figure out, why did we take that shot? Where did we go wrong? And Alatong Haley had skills before, so I don't want to say that I was surprised by his skills. He did look a little better, but I think he looked, again, not taking away credit, like you want to give him a credit like a Rosa, but I think he looked better, and Helliger looked worse than he normally does because it was clearly a really bad start. He got rocked, in the first round multiple times and couldn't really recover off of that first one. It was an equilibrium shot. And props to Ann Helliger for hanging tough and having the right attitude you need to have. but he couldn't mount anything to come back, and it was a clear Haley Alatong win, and very happy for him and any of my friends that were on him. Were you on any sides here, Guru?
Yeah, so this was our personally, it was a bright spot, and for our pod, it could have been a bright spot. We were on Alatong Haley. We were all over him. That's somebody who we liked. I just the biggest. I'll start with the biggest concern we had about Alatong Haley, and that would be his output.
Yep.
We were concerned that he wouldn't have enough output, but I felt at the end of the day that even though Anheliger would throw more, that he also gets hit way too much, and that an overall MMA game that Alatang Haley was better, and that if it needed to go to the grappling, that he had the grappling as well, and that Anheliger had just been taken down by Strader, and Strader is like the purest boxer that you got, and you're getting taken down by Strader, that even that Alatang Haley would be able to do that as well. So I felt good there. So that was good. And for me personally, I bet Alatang Haley in the over 1.5. So for the first round, I'm fucking freaking out. And then for the rest of the fight, it was basically smooth sailing. He didn't actually, to your point, I guess being on Chad, he had a much better second round. He got 30-27.
Yeah.
But he really did have a much better second round. It just was too little too late.
He hit a lot of the counters that I thought I would see him hit on tape. But the problem is that I forgot that he was a former 125er, whereas Haley is a sizable,
he looked
powerful
huge.
guy. And I think the commentary nailed it. Is that again, and I'm usually on the side of experience, right? So shame on me. But he also had that experience at that level, so we had more to compare. Where I felt like whether you were taking positives or piling on to negatives with the Strader fight, it's hard because it was only that one fight, and how much of a sample size, can we depend on for Strader, right? No offense to him, not shitting on him, but I'm just saying. So that was the kind of dangerous thing, right? And I heard that with a lot of the breakdowns as far as like, that's why I'm taking Haley is because of, how he looked on the Strader cat and who this Strader cat is supposed to be or not supposed to be. So I was like, let me just see what I see for myself. And I saw a really good technique, which does count for something, just regardless of level, right? That being said, maybe I should have accounted more, for the level. But what also kind of sold me was that I didn't think it was as bad of a look as people thought, because the takedowns were meaningless, and I kind of saw the pace equation as it was happening. So arguably, before even like the commentary started kind of picking up on it as far as Strader tiring, I saw him tiring real early. So I had no dog in that fight, but I was watching as if I were to have bet Anheliger, and I would have actually been feeling good even in round 2. Where some people were still scoring for Strader, where I honestly scored for Anheliger. So for me, I was like, well, it's not as, again, this is the reason why, you should watch your own tape, right? Make your own case. So I'm like, let me take this Anheliger shot for that and all the other reasons I told you guys. But like I said, for all the other reasons I should have listened to, perhaps not, bet against experience and bet on bad sample sizes or not incomplete sample sizes. Very dangerous to do, right? So
I think sometimes, I was talking about this with TB. I think sometimes you, or not you, but I say
sure, no, yeah,
the collective you, or the collective handicapper, you get stuck like, okay, I'm watching this fighter and I can see these clear and obvious holes in their game, and they're clear and obvious holes that are exploitable.
Yeah,
and they're clear and obvious holes that are exploitable, and I think I should fade them, but you're not always sure, or at least when you end up fading them, that this fighter specifically, their specific opponent, is going to be the one that will specifically capitalize on the holes that you're weary of. And if that opponent is not going to do that, then it doesn't really matter that you saw those holes. You can make a note of it, right, but it's not relevant here. And sometimes it may be, even in this case, what Alatang Haley's pace, that's not good enough. Okay, right, but the problem is Anheliger's pace is great. That's cool, but he gets hit way too much. And if you're taking damage, it doesn't matter if you're throwing strikes back, because you're not hitting, you're losing the fight. Like, it's ends up not going well. So I love playing Captain Hindsight, so it's much easier to talk about it that way.
Totally.
So
Shout out to Ghost
but
Phantom. Shout out to my boy Haley, he says,
Yeah.
and shout out to Team Fight Ready. He used to be plotting, and now he is calculated with a game plan. Yeah, no, totally. And he's like would grab the cage and like make really weird things. Like when I went back to watch the Gustavo Lopez fight, that was kind of part of the reason. And like maybe if it gets ugly, you know, and Helliger could get hit, but then Haley can make some bad decisions, and then that maybe put him behind or something. Obviously, didn't happen here. He's looking better with every camp at Fight Ready. So, hope we'll see if the odds makers start putting more respect on. Well, no, I feel like they put respectful odds on Alatong Haley here. They had him the favorite. It's Orichi Lan.
He was a more respectable favorite, like 170 or 180. You know what I mean? And in fights that like in fights where handicappers are laying chalk on fucking Jake Collier.
Right.
Why aren't you doing it on Alatong Haley? Because
True.
He was kind of disrespected and forgotten about on this card.
Yeah, I didn't get to, and that was another thing too, is I didn't get to these late, so I was rushing, not trying to make an excuse, but again, it was like, I gotta study it, now to get in a fight in, gotta do a show, gotta do another show, and then like, so I don't know how like active like some of y'all are out there in the community, massive props, but it's really tough to do, and then I had to rewrite pretty much all my articles, like every a bunch of other people did, not just re-record a podcast, I had to rewrite articles, folks, restudy stuff, and you guys see how much crap I get if I dare not even pick a dog. Like, I talked about laying a flyer on the favor. I said, Comstock's probably going to sub him, but here's the flyers if it doesn't happen. And just the crap I get week to week for, like, what do you guys want? What do you guys want?
How about this? Dan, how about we, like, turn off? Like, I know you need, like, we need to see the comments, but, like, don't, like, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, whether you win, whether you... They shit on it regardless.
Yeah, I know.
If you could, like, I don't know how exactly to do that. Just like drill into that, like Michael Jordan shooting the free throws, quiet in the gym, just because you are the man. Like you nail it, and you still with all that pressure and the mental that you put on yourself, you still nail it. So you're leading the MMA junkie pool like for years, right? Aren't you a multiple time champion in that?
No, just one, only one.
One time champion, one time.
Only one. Thank you, thank you.
You know that. I'm sorry.
I appreciate it.
I'm sorry. I was just seeing into the future. My bad.
No. I actually took myself out of the pools, but I am doing a separate tracker on my Picks article. You can track my pick, but it's kind of crappy there too, because again, that's why I complain about these card structures, because like it actually worked. As uncertain as this card was, I think I went 4-1, so that'll help my stats actually pretty nicely. That's 4-1 night, but yeah, it's been murderous. But next fight, Elise Reed defeats Melissa Martinez. I picked Martinez here. I started feeling good about even though I didn't play it, I started feeling good once I saw Elise Reed gas, because that was my memory before. And but she got to it, man, and got it done. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, no. So that was the problem. This is how I should have known the night was not going to go too well, because we had parlayed Melissa Martinez and Alatong Haley together instead of laying them separately. Whatever, to win a unit each. We decided to parlay them at one unit, which makes no sense. And we end up losing that parlay, obviously. Melissa Martinez gets rocked bad in round one. She throws a leg kick, or not a leg kick. She throws a kick that just is unchecked or unprotected, and just gets absolutely floored. And if she isn't as young or as in good a shape, she's definitely sleeping. So she figures her way through it.
Yeah.
Comes back, wins round two, and is gonna win round three, and puts herself in a bad position and is just grounded out for the rest of the round. And that's all she wrote. And Elise Reed dominates and is a nice dog play for anybody that was smart enough to take her.
Yeah, props on anybody that took the WMMA dog, as they say. But lastly but not leastly, Johan Lines defeated Darian Weeks via split decision. I didn't have a strong opinion on this because I wasn't watching closely. It also sounded like a lower action affair, which always creates controversy or people upset. I didn't. I don't know if you were on it. I didn't see too many people on it. I know my guy Dan Levy. Shouts to him. He was on Johan. Shouts to my guy Dan. I know we were both on like the same some bad beats and the same bad beats last year. So I'm glad to see that guy killing it.
He's killing it.
I didn't have an opinion on this. Although I did laugh because even though I didn't bet it, my official pick, even though I know investment, was Weeks. And again, guys, whether I'm betting it or not, we know how whether I'm doing well, okay, or crappy. It doesn't matter what the weather is. The weather is always crappy for me when it comes to close decisions. I do not get these things, even when I could care less and I'm not even paying attention like this fight. Do you have an opinion? What happened here, Guru?
So, yeah, listen, you win some, you lose some. So, I didn't get the Li Jing Liang split decision.
Well, I got that one, but I didn't play it.
But I did. So you got. I didn't
Yeah.
get the Li Jing Liang one, but I did get this one. We were on Johan Lioness. We had laid 2 units.
Nice, good job.
So yeah, it was nice.
I see the
TB
homies
and
cash,
I
there you go.
started our night. We were very excited. It was a very nice win for us. So we were like, oh, this is gonna be a great night. This was awesome. Let's get one going. Johan didn't look very good at all, to be quite honest. I kind of wanted. It's fucked up. Like, and that's the problem. Like, you kind of wanted to believe him. I did a real mental check of myself. I really pushed myself in the gym. My cardio is gonna be much better now. I losing my own meant a lot to me. No activity, no cardio. Like, it was brutal. No power. But to what we faded Darian Weeks on as the favorite, which is again why you have to be a dog hunter in MMA, is because Darian Weeks does nothing. And that's why we faded him. Like, he does nothing. That's why I faded Mandy Bohm recently. She does nothing. Like, that's why I faded Dwight Grant. He does nothing. When you see people that do nothing, you have to fade them. Darian Weeks is a wrestler that doesn't wrestle, and he's a halfway decent striker that isn't throwing any strikes, like, continuously. Not against Gabe Green, not against Gary Machado. Gary Machado, what's his fucking Ian Gary Machado. That's so funny.
Right.
Ian Gary Machado.
Machado.
And now he didn't do it versus Johan Lioness either. And he's gonna find himself on the unemployment line in a minute, or free agency, whichever you want to look at it. So, that helped mitigate the damage, but I guess not. I don't know. It was a absolute bloodbath. But if I had to talk about it for 2 hours, I would not have wanted to do it with anybody else other than you, man.
Thank you for joining me.
No, and I'm not. I'm still down to keep, talking with the chat or whatever you want to do. But that was a good win at least.
Nice.
Even though it probably
Ending
broke a couple people's hearts.
Well, we had to end on a good note for you on the recap there. And
yes.
Ian Gary Machado. I'm not here to be part Portuguese. I'm here to take over.
Dude, have you seen his? Do you know his wife?
I'm sure she's a very attractive.
She works for, I think she works for BT Sport or something. She definitely has done some UFC work or something. She's just she's just wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Good for him. Doing good for himself.
Excellent. Yes.
Thank you guys for joining in the chat. Like the video below if you haven't already. My man Ghost Phantom 98 says, don't understand why people say bad things about Dan's picks. I'm not a betting man, but at the end of the day, he has good analysis and the tactics and habits of each fighter. Appreciated that, especially coming from you, Ghost. Someone who does their work, knows their stuff, trains, part of the community. Appreciate that. So, no, thank you. Everybody gets crap. It's just people like to hate. I think it's one of those things like I was like wishing my guy Clint well, and he was like, wait, we're opposite on a pick? And I'm like, yeah, we're opposite on one pick. It's all good. If you hit it, I'll be the first to give you props or whatever. And I give, I just wish more people had that attitude where, like, uplift people, even if they're on the opposite end of you. If they get the better, you give them props, man. You see these fighters beat the crap out of each other and still shake hands. Like, well, why can't we do it via a tweet? Like, it makes
you want to know why? Do you want to know why?
What's
I heard CJ Safdie say it the other day. I'm going to steal it from him. It was really smart. He said, gambling is an addiction. Smoking, drinking, gambling. If you fuck with somebody's addiction, they get hostile.
Yeah.
So you fuck with somebody's gambling, you fuck with their money, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden they get hostile.
Yep.
And watching sports is like rooting sports, being a fan can be addicting. Like Philadelphia Eagles lose, or when they win,
Yeah.
like they burn their city down either way. So it's like you fuck with somebody's addiction and they get. And so I think sometimes you especially since you're, fairly big in your space, I think you get an
It's
unnecessary
that damn blue
brunt of
check
that.
mark. It's that damn blue check marks, man. Like it's
Blessing
cool
and
if
a
you want
curse.
the attention, but like I'm not wired that way. Again, that's always the funny thing. People are like, you're a media guy who wants clicks. I'm like, I love that stuff. I'm like, you're barking up the wrong tree with me, man. Like the normal. There's plenty you can criticize me for. Don't get me wrong, but like the normal like media accusations or tout accusations. I'm like the last guy. But to your point, yeah, like yeah, it's an addiction, and like even though my stuff is free and public and transparent, and I can pat myself on the back about that, the fact is, people probably see it. Maybe they tail it and they get pissed off, and it's a grudge or something, or something like that, right? And yeah, I mean that's the reason why I did my own tape, even though it was the day of fight day, right? Because I'm like, because I get it. You tail someone, you're like, ah, crap, right? Even if you're healthy about it, there's still that like little part of you, if you're being honest, where you're like, ah, crap. And I love Lamp. And, so that's why I went to watch the tape. It didn't matter if the play hit or missed. It missed, obviously. But, like, the point was, it was my research. It was my money. It was my decision. I'm a big boy. I can make my own decisions. And that's how it should be, whatever your process is. Own it.
That's how everybody should be. 100%. That's how everybody should be. And, and I am a little bit of a baby sometimes, but that is the best part about being here with you right now. It's so easy to fucking take a victory lap. I made 6 units. I made 16 units. I hit a plus 800 prop.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for patting yourself on the back. It's always easy to do that. It's much harder to, show up to the press conference after you lose the football game, after you throw the game losing fucking.
It is, yeah.
Pick or whatever, you have the losing play, you get knocked out, and you got to talk to people. It's much harder.
It's tough, and that's why people ask, like, you actually study for these picks or these fights or your articles? I'm like, or do you watch tape for this? And like, I get that a lot, surprisingly, from like professionals in the field. It's crazy, and I'm like, yes, man. Like, what do you think? I actually got to write about this stuff, dude. I'm not gonna talk out of I'm pulling this out of my ass.
You'd be surprised. A lot of people just do.
Yeah, that is true, and again, that's what blows me away. Says I just know Jack Slack is gonna do some crazy shit posting when he wakes up. Yeah, Jack probably will. I love Jack. It's very very, if you could read between the lines, very 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 funny stuff. Thank you guys for in the chat, by the way. Hit the like button. Daniel Tom MMA. I'm actually gonna get this one. You guys referenced an emergency podcast, my little impromptu preview with Aaron. I did not upload that to podcast feeds. I didn't have enough time. I was just so tired. I'm so tired here. So I'll probably do that on Sunday, but I will upload this one is what I'm going to say. I am not going to steal the plug opportunity from Guru. So, Guru, please, man, if there's anything you want to plug or anything you want to add for the card, just go ahead and shout.
Sure. Dan, I just want to first say, again, I've said it a million times and I'll say it a million more. Thank you so much for having me on, man. It really means the world. Anytime you ever want me back, I'd be so happy to come back. And anytime you can, I know you're a very busy man, especially with fight camp, so maybe we'll do it after you get the dub.
Let's do it. Yeah.
But we need to have you back on the pod because that's just, again, it just means everything. So seriously, thanks so much for having me, bud. Wonderful, wonderful time. Next time you have me on, it'll be on a winning time for me. I know that for sure. You can follow me at Guru Scouting MMA. Oh my God, I had the wrong thing up this whole time. That's so funny. I never changed it. I'm Tyler Berman.
No, don't worry. It wasn't showing. Your Guru
Oh,
Scouting.
That's so funny.
I got your own name tag on the show.
That's
so you're
so funny. Oh no.
Yeah,
all right, so you can follow.
You're good.
I'm so bad at this. Oh no. You can follow me at Guru Scouting MMA on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. You can follow my awesome co-host, so I just fucking aired him out. You can follow him at TB Scouting MMA on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. You can follow my amazing podcast where we're gonna buckle down and have an unbelievable week next week. because we got Sanhagen and Song coming up, and we have our good buddy coming on the show. We have Danny Lags coming on, so we're really excited to have him come on and help us break down an awesome card. You can follow my podcast at Chronic Combat on Twitter and at Chronic Combat Conversations on Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, Dan. It really was so much fucking fun.
No worries. Nate Diaz, by the way, for the bonus question. Nate Diaz goes out with a $50,000 bang. I'll
just
read
him?
the bonuses real quick. We'll see who gets the other ones. Let's see. I gotta open the article.
Aldana probably gets one for sure.
Performance of the night, Jailman. It's right. They gave him the conjugal trailer upgrade. They're gonna put some leather couches in there, so it's easier to clean for the Jailman. Who else got a? Who else got a? Johnny Walker got one. Okay.
Wow. All right. So then
Submission.
they definitely didn't kick him out.
And
Whatever
then,
that was.
Yeah, right. Irene Aldana got one for her.
Yeah, of course she
kick.
did.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. There's some good news. More people got some money. That's always good. Hopefully they got more money than that. They all deserved it. I hope you guys, got or do get what you deserve on the next card. If not this one. Hopefully you all did well, and thanks for joining me on the recap, especially those of you in the chat. Really appreciate that. Daniel Tom MMA on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to the channel there. To join these live chats, of course, at Dan Tom MMA on Twitter, where I'm most active. At the PYN Podcast on all social platforms if you want to follow. Be doing more cross collaborations with my Chronic Combat Conversation friends over here. Of course, Tyler and Greg at TB Scouting MMA, or is it just TB Scouting? It's late.
TB Scouting MMA
there
and Guru Scouting MMA.
Guru Scouting MMA. Very easy, very easy.
Combat.
Give them a follow.
Yeah.
Good
no,
dudes.
not too bad.
Good dudes. Thanks. It's super late over there, man. And thank you for joining me for this whole thing. You guys rock. All right, folks. I'll see you guys next week for some fight night or some whatever-ish. Just be safe out there and
you too, buddy.
Still protect your necks. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Protect your neck.